Sanctuary. A Medieval Mystery Romance. By Marina Pacheco. Chapter 1. Why? Mal thought, as he planted his rough staff into the muddy path and pulled himself forward. The remaining flecks of bark rubbed against his hand and flaked off, revealing smooth grey wood beneath, scraping his hand as he dragged himself along. Why, he thought, taking another step. How could they? No, there's no sense in dwelling on it, there's no. The vision came back, arrows raining down, the sheriff cursing them to action. Mal drawing his sword as men crashed through the bush, and then the man with one eye was upon him and stabbed him. His side ached as the memory overwhelmed him. The sword slid in, and he fell forward. All he could see was that face, a ragged scar down the right side obliterating the eye socket. The man pushed him off, and the sword dragged back. No. Don't dwell on that. Keep walking. You're nearly there, nearly at the harbor. Escape is possible now. Just take a step, one more step. Mal's foot hit something hard. He tripped and fell into the road, flinging his hands out to break his fall. They sank into the cold mud, which oozed between his fingers. Ow, Mal muttered. He had no energy for more, no energy for the usual string of curses he might have spat out. Instead, he pushed himself back onto his haunches, and examined the thing that had stopped him. It was a milestone tipped onto its side where the ground was so boggy from the rain that it had ceased to hold the stone upright. Mal traced a muddy finger over the letters. He couldn't read them, but he didn't need to. He knew this land as well as if the whole county was his home. He traveled across it day and night, kept perpetually on the move by the sheriff. Mal rubbed his hands down his front, wiping the worst of the dirt from his fingers. His rough brown homespun top was wet, soaked through by the mist. It didn't look like the kind of weather that could get you wet, but if you stayed outside long enough, each minute water droplet collected like a fine fuzz on the strands of your clothes and worked its way through all your layers until even your skin was wet and cold. Mal reached for the staff and pulled himself back to his feet. Then he looked up. He'd spent so much time with his eyes fixed on the road, or worse, reliving the last few. He shook his head. Don't dwell. No more dwelling. He stood at the top of a rise that gave him an excellent view of the path ahead. At least it would have, but for the drifts of fog that turned the world into an almost uniform grey. It cut visibility so that all he could see were the rows of fields, like so many gigantic, cabbage-encrusted caterpillars, leading the eye down to the murky outlines of a town, and beyond that, an iron-grey sea that merged with a foggy grey sky. The town was Kirkthorpe. It had grown large from the trade brought in by the natural harbour. Like elsewhere, the plague years had afflicted it, and the outer houses were now skeletal ruins that the remaining townsfolk had pillaged to repair their own homes. It gave the outskirts of the town a ragged edge. A bell sounded across the valley, dulled by the damp air, and Mal paused to listen. It came from the convent, the reason he was here. His gaze drifted to the southern edge of the town, and took in the fortress-like grey stone walls that surrounded the convent and kept the harbour firmly within their domain. They need those walls, Mal thought, and his mind drifted back to the time 5 years ago when Baron Castlemere had ordered the sheriff in to defend the convent from the rage of the townsfolk. He seldom cared to know the reason for the violent work they were given, but he'd gathered that this one was